Imagine a CEO, at the pinnacle of their power, seemingly untouchable. Now imagine everything they built crumbling around them, not by external forces, but from within their own boardroom. Today, we're about to expose the shocking corporate coup that brought down a titan, revealing the calculated betrayals and power plays that sealed their fate. This isn't just a story. It's a cautionary tale of ambition and backstabbing at the highest levels. We are in what many called the golden age of CEO worship. At the center of it all was a figure we'll call Mr. Alpha. He wasn't just a CEO. He was a brand. With his charismatic keynote speeches, a massive social media following, and a carefully curated image of philanthropy, he redefined what corporate success looked like. The media loved him, portraying him as a visionary, a maverick who could do no wrong. He was the invincible leader of a corporate empire, and his name was synonymous with innovation and aggressive growth. But behind the polished exterior, the foundation was already cracking. Inside the company, whispers were growing louder. Employees spoke of aggressive, almost ruthless tactics. There were rumors of cutting ethical corners to meet impossible deadlines, and of an internal culture where loyalty was demanded, but never returned. These were the first signs that the king's castle was built on sand. The first major crack appeared not as a tremor, but as an earthquake. An internal memo, leaked to a prominent financial journalist, sent shockwaves through the industry. It detailed a series of unethical decisions related to product development, suggesting that safety protocols were bypassed to rush a flagship product to market. The public was stunned. The media darling was suddenly facing his first real scandal. This leak was no accident. It was a signal. It emboldened those who had long been disillusioned. Suddenly, rival executives who had been competing against each other for years began to find common ground. They started talking, sharing stories, and realizing they weren't alone in their concerns. They formed an unexpected, secret alliance with long-term employees who felt betrayed by the company's new direction. And at the heart of this growing resistance was a mole, an unsung hero, deep within Mr. Alpha's inner circle, who began meticulously gathering crucial evidence, risking their entire career to expose the truth. This wasn't just a rebellion. It was a strategically planned assault. The secret alliance began holding clandestine meetings, often late at night, or in off-site locations, far from the prying eyes of corporate security. Their goal was to orchestrate a boardroom coup. They meticulously planned a vote of no confidence, identifying which board members were wavering and which could be convinced with the right evidence. They mapped out the entire process, preparing for every possible countermove Mr. Alpha might make. The day of the reckoning arrived during a routine quarterly board meeting. What started as a standard review of financials quickly turned into a corporate trial. The rebel faction's leader stood up and began a presentation. It wasn't about profits or losses. It was a bombshell. They unveiled the evidence the mole had gathered, emails, internal reports, and sworn testimonies that painted a damning picture of deceit and misconduct. There was no room for denial. Mr. Alpha, for the first time, was left speechless. The vote was swift and decisive. He was out. The public fallout was immediate. The company's stock price went into a nosedive, and a frantic PR battle began as the board scrambled to control the narrative and reassure investors. But what truly drove a man like Mr. Alpha to betray the very foundation he built? To understand, we have to look deeper. A dive into his past revealed a disturbing pattern. From his early career, he was known for his ruthless ambition, often stepping on colleagues and bending rules to get ahead. He saw business not as a collaborative effort, but as a battlefield where only the strongest survive. Psychologically, his actions weren't just driven by greed. It was a desperate attempt to maintain his godlike status. His ego was so intertwined with the company's success and his public image that any threat to it was a threat to his very identity. He couldn't accept failure or criticism, so he chose to cheat. The ripple effect was devastating. Employee morale plummeted, years of investor trust evaporated overnight, and the brand was left permanently tarnished. His betrayal wasn't just a personal failing. It was a corporate catastrophe. In the aftermath, the company faced the monumental task of rebuilding. New leadership was brought in, not for their charisma, but for their integrity. They began the long, challenging road to recovery, implementing stricter ethical guidelines and a culture of transparency. The goal was to ensure something like this could never happen again. The legacy of Mr. Alpha's betrayal extended far beyond the walls of his former company. The case became a landmark in corporate governance. It sent a clear message: no CEO is untouchable. It has led to increased scrutiny from boards, investors, and the public. The era of the unquestioned celebrity CEO is facing a reckoning. So, what does this story tell us about power, accountability, and the future of corporate leadership as we look toward 2025? It shows that integrity is not a buzzword. It's the ultimate currency. And in a world of total transparency, the truth will always find its way to the light. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. See you next time.